Welcome to the Grand Review, the movie podcast with movie news, reviews, and all those good things you can't refuse. I am your host, D.A.R.E, and joining me, as always, is the wonderful, illustrious, fantastic, properly pronounced Andrew Delia.
Andy's fine, but yes.
Okay,
close enough.
Dadgummit, I'm never going to get this right. I'm never going to get it right. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, thank you.
You're part of this.
Yeah. 4 episodes in now, or actually 5.
Yeah, this is number 5.
Wow.
Yeah. We're figuring out just kind of how things roll, you know?
Yeah.
This episode's probably going to be a little bit different than our last ones.
Yeah.
This is our first R-rated film, for one.
Right.
And second, I have had what might be one of the longest weeks I've ever had physically.
But yet you sat through a 2-hour movie last night at 8 o'clock at night.
Completely awake,
and
too.
You were awake, too.
Yeah.
So I give you a lot of credit for that.
Well, I appreciate that. I am sunburnt to a crisp.
I've seen worse.
Covered. You're right. Yeah, I thought it was going to be worse than this.
You actually look pretty good.
But I was holding a gimbal up, so my arms were like, pulled in and like bent. And so I have this weird sort of A-frame style
white
tan
patch.
line in the crook of my elbow.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I was ugly before. This doesn't change that. But
hey, me too. So this isn't going to change anything.
Should we maybe see someone about our self-confidence?
That's why I listen to punk rock and metal.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll just go let my wife hold me while I cry. That's the normal Friday night stuff.
And first off, I apologize to Hannah specifically. She came last night, and I don't think she knew what she was getting herself into.
She didn't, and I didn't either.
Okay, at least so I was the only one that actually did my homework.
I think so. Yeah. I kind of right now I'm on a kick of just not seeing too much about what I'm going to see. Like, I want to go into stuff kind of blind right now.
Okay.
It's kind of fun just to be like, I don't know.
See, that's probably where I have an unfair advantage on you, because I talk to my film buyer constantly.
Right, yeah.
And he goes and like, I'm probably one of the first people he tells, hey, this is really good. Hey, this is,
yeah.
You know, so he can actually.
That's also like, it's a matter of taste thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
But me and him seem to have about the same taste.
Okay.
So we can kind of already tell what we're going to like and what we're not going to like, which plays no influence on whether I play it here at Grand Avenue or not.
Right. Yeah. We've had several discussions about that, and you're like, no, I'm going to show what people want to see. That's the goal. And
so the question is, did I make the right decision with this one?
Well, Monkey Man. Okay. Look, that's what we're reviewing this week. It's Monkey Man. We're going to do spoiler-free review first.
Right.
That's right here up top. And then we're going to put a marker later on. You can find it in the show notes underneath the podcast. You can jump to the spoiler section, and then you can jump to the news section if that's all you're here for. So you can jump around to all of that if you'd like. But we're going to start with the spoiler-free review. This week, I don't have notes. I just have...
I do.
And I'm thank God.
I have more on the movie news, though, than I do on Monkey Man, because I can kind of just go with that with our conversation.
Well, I found this cool website called Wikipedia.org. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they have a bunch of information about this movie. So I just have that open in front of me. Yeah. I know this is probably just something that just started Wikipedia. I'm really excited to have discovered it. But
well, I know we had mentioned last week when we did ours that this film was plagued with problems. It seems from the get-go. Yeah. And then the other thing that I found out this week is this was originally supposed to be for Netflix.
Was it really?
And it got dropped. And then Jordan Peele got a hold of it and took it to Universal. And of course, Jordan Peele has got over at Universal along with Christopher Nolan now. So they said, of course we'll put this out. And
that's interesting that Netflix dropped it. This seems... Yeah. I guess they have a standard of quality over at Netflix. And this must have been above it. And they went, I'm sorry, this doesn't fit our brand identity, which is pumping out crap.
Yeah, it doesn't have Kevin Hart or The Rock in it, so we're not interested.
It's not an Andy... Sandberg. What is his name?
No, Sandler. It's not Adam
Sandler. What am I doing? Andy Samberg is from Lonely Island. It's Hot Rod. Yeah, it's a completely different thing. Sorry. Like I said, a long week. So I'm actually hoping that this week, because I'm exhausted, it tempers some of the manic energy that I'm normally bringing to the
and
show.
then we're under like 2 hours this week too.
Because I'm just trying to go home and take a nap.
That's why our downloads are so bad. They don't want to listen to like two nerds talk about movies for 2 hours.
Well, and I scream too much. I think that's generally a note I've gotten from my own father. Maybe I should see someone about that.
Wow, that's bad.
No, my dad, sometimes I'll tell a story and I get really animated. You've seen it. I can't help it. And because since I was 12 and doing theater, it was always played at the back of the room. So I just learned to do that, and that's become how I talk. And my dad has looked at me and he said, "You sometimes when you tell a story, it puts me into fight or flight mode. Like it's that stressful."
See, meanwhile, I'm like very quiet, especially when you see me go around the theater and that I don't talk a whole lot. So this is the most talking I do within a day.
You get it all out here for the week.
Right. Especially, the obligatory question that I absolutely hate answering here is, well, is this movie any good?
You got to find like a measuring stick for like what they would consider a good movie, right? Like you have to be able to go, did you love Avatar or think it was kind of dumb? Like something like that.
Well, okay. I just like from Clerks when the woman asked, Randall, well, are these two movies any good? I try not to get involved in people's affairs, and that's really what I want to stick with. Because, it used to be that I would, people would ask me that, oh, yeah, I love this. And they come back, I want my money back, and you're an idiot. How did you like that? And everybody has different tastes, and I understand that. But when people ask me that here anymore, or as I've gotten older, it's just, I really don't want to answer that solely because everybody is different, which, is a great thing, and it's a great thing in the world, and especially for movies.
Yeah.
If they made one type of film, we wouldn't have a show to start out with.
We would be so bored.
Everything would be boring. So,
yeah. Well, and this is definitely, so to get into one, stressful things, and two, movies. Monkey Man is unlike anything I've ever seen. Honestly,
it's definitely unique.
It is something else. And so this is directed by Dev Patel.
Yes.
The screenplay was by Dev Patel, along with Paul. I'm so sorry for names I'm going to butcher here. I grew up in Texas. Sorry. But Paul Anjunawa and John Coley. Thank you. But the story was by Dev Patel. One of the main producers, Dev Patel, starring Dev Patel. So, I mean, this is Dev Patel had an idea and he saw it through in every single way, shape, and form. You can tell when a movie has a voice, a specific voice, that it's not a Marvel, manufactured sort of thing.
And this film definitely had that too.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I know we're going to get into, that's why I like this movie. Mm-hmm. Would I recommend this to somebody? Probably not.
See, that's a tough one because I if you love action, I think on that front, it's an easy recommend.
It's not a 24-hour action fest, and it's not that way from start to finish either. There's only two really big action sequences in the entire film, and the rest of it is story and characters and dialogue. Yeah. Which if you're looking for John Wick Part 5, this movie is not it by any way, mean, or form.
I do think that to some extent the action lives up to the John Wick bar.
It does, especially the one where both of us winced at. Like,
oh my gosh,
that last part of it just.
I was shocked how many times both of us at the same time went ooh or
oh,
like we were. It was like we had mind melted. I'm one with my wife until we sit down to watch Monkey Man, and then you and I become a single entity. No, but it was unlike anything I've ever seen. Obviously. And look, this goes without saying, it's an R-rated film. But if you're looking for something to take the family to, do not take your children to Monkey Man. Right. It's a funny-sounding name that is not for children.
No.
And I just want to reiterate that because sometimes parents come in and they buy a ticket to a movie and they think, this will be fun, and they don't pay attention to the rating, and then they come back and they're all angry about it. Do not take your children to Monkey Man.
It uses an Indian child story of Hunaman
is it
as the inspiration for all of this?
Right. Is it Hunaman or is it Hanuman?
You decide.
It's spelled Hanuman. I think that's how they pronounced it.
Okay,
and
I'm only being
wrong. I'm only being a stickler on this point for one reason.
Because
we're going to get everything else
pronounce.
wrong. Yes. So yeah, do we want to give just like a basic rundown of the plot in a spoiler-free way?
I mean, it's the plot to it is pretty simple. It's all the layers underneath that are very complicated to this film.
Yeah.
So generally, Dev Patel's mother was killed at an early age, and he goes out for revenge. Who at that point, as he's becoming an older man, the people that he are after is high up in politics and the ruling of India.
Yeah.
So he has his work cut out for him, to say the least. Yeah. And that's generally the story.
Yeah. And it's a revenge movie,
right?
Pure and simple. So if you like those, I think there's enough of that here. I think it has an emotional core for sure.
Yes.
And Dev Patel. I have finally forgiven him for the Avatar movie and what he did to Prince Zuko.
The M. Night Shyamalan debacle.
After watching this, having seen this, and then his performance in that, I'm now finally, because I never want to place blame squarely on one person for most things. I want to go, well, it's a collaborative effort, blah, 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 right? Whether it's good or bad.
Right.
But no, Avatar was completely M. Night Shyamalan's fault, and Dev Patel is completely absolved of his sins for what he did to a great character.
Dev Patel, for me, I really like the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, and also the second one that he did, which actually the second film is more focused on his character than the first one. But those are really good movies that are kind of overlooked at this point, probably because of the age of them. But he's the guy at the center of the story for both of them. In the first one, he's trying to make a go of this hotel that he's running, and he's trying to get away from his parents and be an individual man and make his name in the world by running a hotel that's generally catering to older Americans.
Yeah,
and everybody has almost ends up like an episode of Love Boat from the 70s. Everybody has their own little story in what they do. And it's got a great cast. Tom Wilkinson, who just passed away recently too, is in that. Dame Judi Dench. And then the second one is more about, okay, he's gotten this business going as best he could. Now it's about getting married and dealing with his family. So it's almost like My Big Fat Indian Wedding.
Oh, okay.
To some extent, but then there's still people that are coming in and out of the hotel, and they have their stories too.
Gotcha.
But they're both very, very good films.
I need to check those out.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
I forgot
he was also in The Green Knight a couple years ago.
That's I haven't seen the whole thing of it. I saw it in pieces, and what I saw didn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's I need to sit down and watch that from start to finish. And I really wanted to see that film. But I think at the time, too, that's when I got COVID.
Oh, no.
And it didn't stay in theaters long enough for me to go back and watch it.
I know the images I've seen of it, like the trailer and stuff, just it looks beautiful. But I never sat down to see it. I heard it was kind of obtuse, I suppose, in presentation. But I would say the same for Monkey Man. I would say this is... Okay, the way I thought of it last night, I was sitting there watching it, and I know how movies are structured, right? You have scenes, you have these character interactions, and this has that, but the way it's presented and the way it's edited, especially the editing, this is not so much, in my opinion, so much a regular movie as it is a visceral experience.
Oh, that definitely. And I think India lends to that as well, with that being the backdrop of this entire story. And you see like the really seedy, grimy parts of India too that are the good way to analyze this too is a lot of the scenes you see the big, beautiful buildings in the background, and then halfway on the screen is the slums, and they're all in the same shot.
Yeah.
And so that really kind of characterizes what you're in for and what you're watching. That it's going to go from the ultra highs to the ultra lows.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it does that really well. Like visually, it's really good. The action scenes are really cool. Like I said, we were wincing at parts of that were just, oh my God.
We'll get into that in spoilers, but there are like a couple of standout moments where I was like, and I looked over at my wife and I saw her covering her eyes. I was like, I maybe should check on these a little bit more before I bring her.
But yeah, well, and Jessica bowed out of that because I didn't make her go watch the first Omen the other night, but we came here and watched that. And then she was like, no, I don't really want to watch a John Wick style action film. And I was like, when I got home last night, I'm like, you actually might have liked this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think from just anything she loves India.
Yeah.
She does want to go where she's going to have to drag me and trank me like a baby seal to get me onto the plane to go over to India. I don't want to get, and this film does not help that at all.
This is not an Indian tourism film for sure.
But I think the spirituality,
unless you're going to India to get into human trafficking, that's a major part of this film is the human trafficking and the abuse of the underprivileged, and so if that's what you're in for, I mean, you go to Dubai or India. Apparently, you can same thing both places.
Well, this is supposed to be set in Mumbai, but it has a fictional town that it starts with a Y. Yatana or something like that.
Yatana, Yamata, something like that.
Yeah, but it's more just supposed to represent Mumbai, from what I had read. And then the film is actually supposed to have a fictionalized depiction of what's going on in India right now politically. Mm-hmm. So there's high ranking people in government that are led around by religious leaders, mm-hmm. and generally they do their bidding. Yeah. And that's really laid out perfectly in this film. Mm-hmm. But it's also very disturbing and make no sense about it. The people that Dev goes after in these, they are bad people.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they are the worst.
Yes.
And they deserve everything that is coming to them.
There's pretty much no one in here that gets killed as far as the bad guys' side who you're like, well, they were just emotionally complex. You're like, no. When they die, you go, oh, the world just got a little cleaner.
Right.
Which is, look, I am not actually advocating for murder. I'm just saying,
but
in the context of the film.
Right.
Or as my friend Lucas says, anytime we say something potentially, he says sus, we just go, in Minecraft. Like if you say, I want to, let's say, remove someone from office as a joke. Then we go in Minecraft, which is not an actual legal defense. Someone tried that and lost. Oh. It actually happened in a legal case in America. Someone made a threat to someone and then put in Minecraft on the end, and he went to jail anyway.
See, that sounds like a basis for a movie right there.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. But I like the spirituality of the film, especially, at one point in Dev's journey, so to speak, throughout this film, and he's saved by a colony.
Is that a spoiler?
Well,
is that a
saved could mean a whole bunch of different things.
Sure,
but the colony of transgender people that help him out, and what he learns there and what he goes through makes it not the typical action film. That's something that I haven't seen a lot of, and I really appreciate that and like that. So that's why it's very hard for me not to like this film.
Yeah.
Now, the big question is, do you go out and recommend this movie to somebody? Right. The look on your face says it all. It's very tough to go out and tell your best friends or somebody, yes, you absolutely have to go out and see this. You have to see it before it hits home video, because this is not going to appeal to everybody.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that I would need to see it a second time to really get everything that happened.
Well, there's so much thrown at you too. Yeah, I definitely get that.
Fast. It's so fast. It is edited as though, I don't know, as though you popped 4 Adderalls before you went in, and that way you could keep up. Like it is throwing information at you, and it's throwing enough information at you in small flashes that allows you to start connecting the dots as it goes along. It doesn't just explain everything at the beginning. It kind of starts doling out information over time as he has.
And there's little pieces that are unfolded as the story goes along.
Yeah.
So you literally have to sit there and watch the entire thing.
Yeah.
But also you have to pay attention too, because with those pieces being revealed throughout the entire film, you miss something, it's going to be kind of lost.
Yes. I had to go to the bathroom, and I came back and asked my wife what I missed, and she goes, I'm going to be honest. I don't know.
And I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, I wish there was more subtitles in this, to be honest, and that's going to sound horrible. I really wish they had just put this all in Hindi and just made it subtitles.
I was thinking the same thing.
I felt that I missed stuff.
Yeah, and there were lines in English that were also subtitled.
Right.
And I don't know what the criteria was for them to decide, like, oh, that's one that people won't just hear properly, so we'll put the subtitle on that one. I think there were some where it was like half of it was in English, half of it was in Hindi, so they just put subtitles on the whole thing. That way it wouldn't be going, wait, did the language change? They just put it down there.
But I think looking at it from a studio perspective, if you market like an entirely almost Bollywood film, it might not have gotten the distribution that it did.
Yeah, I think that's why they did it.
Yeah.
I was sitting there having that thought in the theater. I went, I kind of just wish this was all subtitled and in Hindi.
Right.
Because then I could, but that's harder to sell. So that's why they didn't do it. And
looking at how many people were in the showing that we went to.
Yeah, so it was us. It was you, me, and my wife, and then two other people kind of behind us.
Yeah.
It was a Thursday night. Pre-shows are never normally as full unless they're a Marvel movie or something.
But the interesting, like the headline this morning was Thursday night showings for Monkey Man did way better than First Omen.
I saw that today.
Monkey Man did 1.4, which is not big numbers or a blockbuster by any means. But then you see the First Omen numbers that are 700,000 for, and you go, okay. So that's what kind of weekend we're in for.
Yeah, interesting.
Godzilla Kong still reigns supreme. Yes.
Past $100 million this week, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I don't know. I recommending it is tough. Look, for me, and I'm gonna say this because there's a variety of people listening. So for you, the spiritual stuff was the more interesting part and different from other stuff. For me, as someone who just was, I don't find that stuff as entertaining as it is kind of just off-putting. If that's something that you're sensitive to, then maybe that's something that you should consider before watching this. I
definitely agree with that.
It didn't necessarily mean I was sitting there going, ugh, I should just walk out of the theater. But it's a very different set of beliefs than the ones that I hold in a lot of ways. And I went, okay, well, that's just what this is. That's fine.
Right.
But if that's something you're sensitive to or you're not a big fan of, then just fair warning. That being said, if you love hard action and you don't care about that, I think it's an easy recommend on that front.
Yeah.
If you like PG-13 action and blood makes you squeamish, watch anything else.
Yeah, go see Godzilla Kong again.
Yeah, you'll have fun with that one. And I had fun with this. I mean, there was a lot of stuff from a visual standpoint. I think it's extremely well lit. I was trying, because we mentioned last week how they said some shots we had to do on my mobile phone, and I was
camera's broken, and set, locations lost, and
you can't tell. I kept looking to go which one's the phone shot, and I can't tell. I have no idea.
See, that tells you how good like the phone technology is,
right?
Now.
Yeah. Well, that and an extremely talented director of photography can light anything to make it work good.
And they did
work well. Sorry, I should use my proper English. But yeah, no, they did a great job. And I did notice at one point there was a camera that their crane broke. And Dev Patel mentioned this in an interview, and he said, our crane broke, so we had to set up something different, and we ended up with something I dubbed the pendulum cam. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene towards the end where you see it swinging over someone, and I almost reached over and poked you to go, pendulum cam, but yeah, that was the only thing that I noticed from. He was like, oh, this stuff, pulled out. All the locations lost and whatever. I don't know what locations they lost, but they found some freaking good replacements, because everything in this movie feels purpose done. It feels like, of course, that's where this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautifully depressing, and it's beautifully, like, disgusting.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I know that that's definitely contradictive in itself, but, knowing if when you see what India is and what it is in this film, it does, like we said, this is not a reel for tourists to go see India, but what it fits into the frame of the film works perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, and we're not, obviously we know that what we see in this movie is not the entirety of India, and
No.
so I'm sure there are lots of very, very nice places and nice people in India, and I'm not I'm not interested in fighting that online. So look, chill out, everyone. But I do think that the section of India that it's showing, it doesn't pull any punches on it. I mean, there are children in very scary situations in this who are working for criminals, who just surviving on the streets. Like it doesn't pull any.
Well, it wasn't just kids. It was every walk of life that you saw.
Yeah.
It started out with the kids, and then went to these young girls, and then went to even the older girls that still they can make their own choices at this point, but they're so enslaved and so used to the situations that they're in that there is no other alternative for them, and you feel so hopeless for them.
Yeah.
And there is definitely some apathy toward these characters, and especially Dev's character, that has a really horrifying story. So at least in that respect, like, it's not an action film that all the characters are two-dimensional. They're cardboard, and when the action starts to happen, you really don't care who lives or dies.
Right.
It's all just kind of visual spray of bullets.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of acting with the eyes between Dev and this particular character. And I think it totally works. I think it's really well done, and the pacing and like it is
a little slow starting, I thought.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, just a bit.
Okay.
Like getting up to the first action sequence, I thought it dragged a little bit, but not to the point that I was bored.
I thought that opening sequence, and this isn't really a spoiler, the opening sequence is him with his mom in the woods, and it's kind of showing Dev Patel's character as a kid, who, by the way, that's what he's credited as in the movie, as kid.
The kid,
/ Bobby / Monkey Man. And so
we thought it was funny how he got the name Bobby.
I know, I was laughing about that, and I think I noticed it first.
You did,
because he says he says his name is Bobby, and you know what? We'll say that for spoilers.
Okay.
But I did think that I was so interested in how they were using the camera to kind of like obscure the location and stuff, that I didn't really feel that dragged on, because I was trying to figure out like the feeling of the movie, if that makes sense. That was my production side of brain kind of kicking in. I don't know. It was. I think I get what you mean. Yeah, I was just fascinated by. Okay, this is a different style of movie than I usually watch, so
right.
I was kind of enthralled by just that on its own.
And I thought the guy that played like his sidekick, for lack of a better term,
Alfonso, played by Peter Bash.
Peter Bash, right? Yep. He's from a film that I really like called $1 Million Arm.
Oh.
About with John Hamm. It's a true story that links back to my hometown with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, really?
Where the sports agent went through India to try to make cricket players baseball players. And it was this giant contest that he made that went all over India, and they narrowed it down to 2 people, and then they brought them back to the United States and taught them to go from cricket to baseball to get them signed to a major league team.
Huh.
And it's a really interesting story. It's a really good movie. Didn't do well.
Yeah.
And once again, I blame that on Disney. Their marketing campaign for it was horrible, because they made it just look like any other ordinary baseball film that like a second grade film student could have made.
Yeah.
But
it's not.
No, it's really good. And I really like John Hamm.
Yeah. I do too.
And it's a film that I really pushed. That was the year I went to CinemaCon as well, one of the years, and came back and told everybody how great it was, and it still didn't do any business. So, shame.
So what you're saying is we need to get you a megaphone.
I don't think that'll help.
All right. Well, a microphone and online distribution. Let's hope that does.
I'll just be annoying and loud.
Justice for John Hamm. That's what I say. All right. Well, let's get into spoilers.
Okay.
I think it's time. The violence.
Well, it is an action film.
It is, but it's not just an action film. There's the moment that sticks out in my head the most from this movie, and I'm sure there's others that probably, as soon as you bring them up, will be like, oh, right, of course, yeah, that too. But the moment that sticks out in my head the most is the moment where he's in the kitchen fight. So that begins and it just starts. He walks in and it just like it's on.
It's on.
And he smashes a guy's face onto a burner, then
with
takes a bottle of
chili.
liquid and I
it's
think
chili sauce.
Is it chili sauce?
Yes.
Okay, well, whatever it was flammable because he Molotov cocktailed him in his face while holding his face in it. And I just remember oddly going, oh.
Because both of us were like, wow, is that really?
You already branded his face. Did you need to get it to spread? I think he probably would have been on the ground crying already.
The guy looked like a struck match after that.
He did. Oh, my goodness. I forgot to mention this movie's kind of funny in moments.
Yeah, it's not like depressing from start to end. There is a lot of funny moments to it.
I mean, probably the moment that caught me the most off guard was when he's trying to escape early on in the film, and he goes and tries to jump out a window. And instead of going through the window, he just bounces off and goes boink,
bulletproof glass.
And then he has to go back and keep fighting. And I thought that was because you're expecting the Jason Bourne moment. You're expecting them to follow him out. And I'm wondering, there's a part of me that wonders, was that originally the plan? And then they couldn't for whatever reason because of location pulling out or whatever. I'm wondering if that was them going, all right, well, let's just subvert the expectation. We've got this all planned out, and then we just got to add a little bit here on the end for him to get out. Like, because he ends up outside anyway.
Yeah.
He just goes downstairs.
The beginning of the bathroom fight scene sticks out, too, because there's so many ouch moments to that sequence, too. People getting their heads slammed into toilets and sinks and
this gives the Mission Impossible bathroom fight a run for its money,
right? But
it really does.
I almost got physically sick though when the gun went into the toilet and they had to dig in
it
after.
Out.
I was
imagine you get shot and sepsis.
Yeah,
that's just terrible.
But yeah, the fight scene at the end with the chili sauce, and then the second half of that sequence with the mirrors in like the main VIP room and how that was shot really stands out to me too.
Yeah, that was another moment I was sitting there going, "You're telling me they couldn't get half their locations, but they still were able to do this?" I walked out and just was like, I have planned every short film I've ever shot. I have planned so extensively, and I haven't gotten a single thing that good.
and smashed like a foot of glass on the floor that they're walking on. That I was like, wow.
Yeah, it is. Should we talk about how funny it is that all of the fighters in the fighting ring that he goes and does this stuff at are named after Jungle Book characters?
Well, and the fact that the ring announcer is Shiloh Copley too, that from A-Team and District 9.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you know what? I almost brought up A-Team last week. I miss A-Team. It's not good,
like
but
movie.
I love it a lot.
No, it's not a great film, but it's entertaining as all get out.
Which is what the original show was too.
Right.
I grew up watching the A-Team.
Me too.
I loved it. I loved it so much
because they always pulled out blowtorches and stuff and like welded everything together and like where did they store this stuff, because it wasn't fitting in the van that they drove around in. That was for sure.
The really funny part to me is because I grew up with a man who could jerry rig anything together and make it work.
No, okay.
To me, I was just like, well, of course that's what you do. And everyone else was like, no, this is an insane thing. I'm like, your dad's just not as cool as mine then, because my dad could totally do that.
One of the other sequences that sticks with me is, I hate to, this is going to sound bad, but it's the rape scene of Dev Patel's mom.
Yeah.
Because it's so cringeworthy and disturbing of what you don't see.
Yes.
Because it's not a graphic rape scene at all.
Well, he doesn't even like get to actually doing that before she stabs him.
Right.
So he tries, and then it's just an assault.
Yeah.
And I mean an assault. The man beats the crap out of this woman. It is awful to watch.
And the whole thing is that the bad guys in this have no remorse at all for anything that they've done or anything that they're doing or how they treat people. And that's why, just like you said, good riddance.
Yeah. When he keeps at the end when Dev Patel's beating up the Rana, the police chief who murdered his mom, And he just keeps punching him for so long. He's like, he's already beat. You just kill him. But he just keeps punching him. And every time he does, you go, at this point, it's got to just be hurting your hands more than anything. But like, yeah, go ahead. I think you fought long enough and hard enough to get here. Just make him suffer.
Or the part that enrages me is when he finally gets face to face with the religious leader at the end that's pretty much behind all of this. Yeah. Because he's the one that orders the entire village at the beginning of the film to be cleared solely for their own selfish gains.
Because he wants to build a community, he called
which generally is a sweatshop. Is what I got out of that. I might be wrong.
That was the part I walked out where someone was questioning him on the news and said like, well, what about this? You know, this. I don't know. Sweatshop's the word they use, but something like that. And he goes, no, it's a community. And I was like,
yes, they're volunteers. These are my disciples. That's what he says.
Yeah.
And like, how delusional are you?
I don't think it's delusion. I think he knows every single bit of it's BS.
But when Dev Patel walks into that room at the end to finally confront him, and he's sitting there washing his feet, and I was like, seriously, jump over that puddle and like strangle that guy with his own just whatever he's wearing.
Anything. I don't grab anything. I did like this when he walks into that room. Is it on the nose? Maybe. I don't care. I thought it was a nice touch where Dev Patel walks off the elevator and he sees to his right this big tapestry. It's actually the story of Hanuman.
Oh yeah.
And when he steps forward, where he stops, he actually takes the place in the frame of where the fictional Hanuman is. And so that's something I want to maybe ask you about, see if maybe you have some clarity on this. Is his righteous rampage through India a prophecy, or is it just there are parallels between the story he heard as a kid and this? Because in the middle of this, he has what you would call a religious experience where he opens his chest to the cosmos or something, which I don't think was a literal thing. It's a drug trip.
Which is drug induced, right?
But is he actually supposed to be an incarnation of Hanuman, or is he just there's parallels there and it's something that was important to him because it was a story his mom told him?
I think there's just parallels, and he's holding on to it because of how highly regarded he held his mother.
Yeah.
And, this is not Dune. He's not going to be Muad'Dib and lead the Fremen out of India. So I think it was just, it kept the memory alive of his mother.
Yeah.
And that's why he's on this rampage. And that's why they make that parallel. And the fighting sequences when he puts on the monkey mask and those like real seedy looking arena.
Yeah.
Those are hilarious.
Yes, they are.
Especially, after he's gone through all this training. And I love the training sequence where they're matching the rhythm of his fighting to the drum beats that they're trying to do. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And that's something I don't see a lot either. So I appreciate that. And then they get him into the ring. They put him to the guy that normally used to beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, that was, what was he? He was King Cobra.
King Cobra. And one shot, he's dead.
Boom.
And nobody knows what. The entire arena is silent. Shiloh Copley's character is like, oh, really?
He's like, get his arms, get him off the stage. Yeah, that was I was laughing the hardest when they bring in Baloo the bear. and he's just over there. He's like, you beat his face in, you beat his face in.
And then they throw a club at him wrapped in barbed wire.
Right? Yeah. It's just like, if you bring Lucille into this, you got... It's a Walking Dead joke. I know pop culture. But yeah, no, it is. That's a great sequence. I really, really enjoyed that. And I liked the camera work was frantic and frenetic the whole way through. There are a couple of shots that are on a tripod and locked off. And when I tell you that I was, as a viewer, just feeling a sense of relief when that happened. I am not kidding. There was so much happening so fast and so many cuts, but it wasn't, that's why I say it was more of an experience than like watching a movie.
Right.
It was like being in it. Like you could feel how frantic and frenetic and how insanely just disorienting being in a fight is too, because they do some point of view stuff. They do some, there's just one shot where they just like got the camera on the club while he's fighting Baloo. And it's they did all of this stuff. The amount of coverage that they have is insane for these fights. There were a couple of spots where I think I noticed an edit between 2 takes. Where especially the one that sticks out to me is he was standing on the bar in Queenie's Club, and he punches someone and they go down, and you can kind of see it cut, and then he turns and he does it, and it's like it's a jump cut, not a. It doesn't cut to a different angle. It cuts
I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought that was actually intentional. I wasn't sure that was.
I thought it was to connect 2 takes because that whole scene doesn't play out as one take, but there were some shots where I'm like, okay, you could hide a cut there. You could hide a cut with that flip.
Right.
That's that stunt, and then you reset for this next one. And I was seeing where it could work as a cut. You can't always tell, though, because there are times where it's cutting and you don't know it's cutting until it's like, wait, this is a different shot because of that frenetic, frantic thing. And it's not those moments were not to cover up, setting it for 2 different stunts. And so I was just going, whoa. A lot of the time I was going, okay, I've got to pay attention so I can keep up. I've got to keep up. I've got to keep up. And for me, that it was engaging. It was an engaging movie to watch. I wasn't going, cut. Yep, that's the right cadence for this. That makes sense. It was like cut. Long shot, maybe, or is it 5 shots? You don't know. And it's like, But I was so enthralled in that experience that I really was just along for the ride from start to finish.
So you did like it.
I did like it. I guess I should have said that. I liked it. I didn't,
because I wasn't sure where you were. We were talking about this before we got on to record this, and I thought we were going to have an episode here where I liked it and you didn't. I don't like aspects of it just from a spiritual confrontation sort of angle. But that's the only thing. The action, I think, is over the top brutal, but not. It's not comical. Yeah, but at least it's not like The Expendables.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not. Giant blood splatters and whatever.
Right.
This guy's head got turned into a matchstick, and it makes absolute total sense. Well, but it's disgusting.
It's all in close quarters, too.
Yes, too. Oh, yes.
So I kept thinking like the logistics of filming some of these sequences had to be really hard.
I cannot imagine filming this movie because I've never. I mean, granted, when you have a team of stunt people to work with and stuff, like some of this stuff comes together and you're kind of flowing with it, and but. This is insane, especially knowing what I know about how difficult it was where everything got canceled and stuff. This is an insane feat to have made this movie.
And how it all came together at the end of it.
It looks so good.
Right, because you think for all the problems that they would have on this, it would have been disjointed.
Yeah.
Not very continuity wise at all.
Right.
That the story would not flow. It would seem disconnected. It didn't have any of that at all.
No. And I think there is an element of there being, we're cutting away to flashbacks, we're cutting to this, and time is compressed sometimes. And there's elements of that, but it is not. If it was them trying to cover up the fact that there were things missing from the original script, they did the best job I've ever seen of that.
Right.
If this wasn't all 100% intentional, they did the best freaking job of covering that up. And so from an editing standpoint alone, I'm like, give this man an Oscar. This is fantastic. Actually, we should say the editor was 2 editors. It was David Jensko and Tim Merle. So good on you guys. Good job. Freaking fantastic. The sound, the crunching of bones. It's so good. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, I kind of want to go watch it again.
Yeah.
It just, what a disgusting, awful world to
if
watch
anything,
burn.
Too, to see what we missed.
Yes.
To see what, with being engrossed the way we were in that, and, you had to go out at least once.
I have the bladder of a small child.
Yeah,
it's a real issue for me.
But there's all little things in that I think on the second run or second viewing of this that you will probably pick up.
Yes.
And knowing the phonetics of Hindi language and that it might seem a little bit more easy to understand like what's going on and the flow of the conversations that were happening in the film.
Yeah, I know there was one line in particular that Baba Shakti said that I just was like, I would love to know what you meant, but that was utter gobbledygook to me. I have no idea what you just said. That ending. Okay, so let's jump to the end real quick. This is, I believe, left open for a sequel of some sort.
Yeah, it is. The question is Dev really going to put enough on the line to make a sequel to this?
Good question. I mean, you know what? I'll be honest. I would like to see more of this style of film for sure,
especially in action genres.
Yeah. I think it is a, kind of like when John Wick came out. It's like, no, this is something that is the standard you set your action sequences to. It's well thought out. It's not stylized, but it has a style. It's beautiful. I mean, I love those shots when they're up on the countertop in Queenie's bar, and he's fighting people on the countertop, and he's kind of silhouetted against this kind of warm glow background. It just was like, that's freaking beautiful. I love. And that was supposed to symbolize
the Hanuman.
Yeah.
I have to think about it before because I have it written down here, but I got to think about it. That was to kind of symbolize that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense like why it was framed and why it looks that way.
Yeah. He definitely there's a lot of thought put into why they're doing what they're doing. And,
right.
And this is when I've taught film students, one of the first things we talk about is anytime you say I'd like to do this, I'm going to ask you why. Why? If you can't tell me why, you need to either find a rule that gives you a guaranteed okay result, like the 180-degree rule and all that stuff, or you need to figure out why you want to do that and be able to articulate it. If you can't do that, sometimes you just got to go with the gut feeling.
Well, it's the same in the business world and management. Like, it's always important to tell your staff why you're doing something, not just because I said so.
Yeah.
If you
I didn't listen to my parents when they pulled that on me. I got spanked afterwards when I didn't listen, but I didn't learn that lesson.
No, because that's when I always tell my staff something, I always have behind it, why are we doing this? Okay, this is why, because it's important for them to know that.
Yeah. And I think, you can, I want to give mad props to Dev Patel for directing this in a way that feels like his voice, and feels like this singular vision that came to fruition.
Yeah.
And that is way more difficult than I think most people would ever anticipate it to be.
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of talented people did this. Good job, guys. Freaking nailed it. It is exactly what it intends to be. And
it's very unapologetic about that either. So
yes.
And that's good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, and
I did too.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It is brutal, but yeah, if that's your kind of thing, then go and watch it. But apparently Dev Patel tried to recruit Neil Blomkamp to direct this, but he declined and said, "You should direct this yourself." So good job, Neil.
That's why Shiloh Copley ends up in this.
Yeah, because they had collaborated on something. I'm trying to remember what it was, but yeah.
Because at first I was kind of like, well, he appeared out of left field. Why? And then now that you say that, I'm like, okay, that makes total sense now.
He's the most fun character in the movie.
He
is having a blast, and I love. There's this one shot that just like gets in on his face while he's doing this announcement thing, and spit's just flying out of his mouth as he does this. He's just totally committed to.
And he's like shaking his shoulders and the swagger.
He's everything I aspired to be in high school, and never became. It was. It's so interesting. Netflix apparently, you had mentioned this earlier. They bought the rights to the film for $30 million, and then they felt it was too gritty for Indian audiences and shopped it around instead.
Yep.
So that's interesting. It's this movie has been put through the ringer to get to existing, and I wonder if it's better for it.
But I would say if you're going to see it fast because it's probably not going to last very long.
Yeah, that is the thing. That's
the sad part about it.
It's just not something you're going to buy 5 tickets to for your family.
No.
And I would recommend if you have children that you don't.
And it's not a date night film, as you proved that last night.
Unless you are dating someone or in a relationship with someone who is very, very, very happy to see people get their heads blown off.
Yeah, Hannah's not that kind of person.
No, she's the sweetest, nicest person in the world. It's why no matter what freaking stray animal wanders into our yard, we have to help it. It's draining me of life and money.
See, now it's funny that in the relationship I have with my wife, I'm the one that does that. Like dogs around, dogs got to come home with us. And she's like, "No, we already got 2. We don't need another animal in the house."
Andy, you got to stop. It's the dogs or me. It's
seriously.
I freaking go watch it if you watch the trailer and go, yeah, that's my stuff.
Yeah, then go see it.
You're gonna you know for sure. But yeah, if you're looking for a date night film, go watch anything else.
We have someone like you right now, which is the date night film.
That's right. Yeah.
So go see that instead.
Yeah. I do think that it's interesting the animal representation in this film, because you've got King Cobra, you've got Blue Bear, and I would say that it did a really good job of that, but it is kind of underrepresenting the gerbil population, which is just one way in which I think G-Force is better than this. But that would be my only complaint.
You had to get that in, didn't you?
I did. This is the only thing I prepare for the show.
No notes, just G-Force every episode. Whenever I can. Okay.
And my goal is to catch you off guard with it as much as I can.
Yeah, but the problem is it doesn't catch me off guard anymore. I expect it at some point.
Well, yeah, but you don't know when it's coming. And I like the idea that inside there's a part of you just going, when is he going to do it?
See what? Next one, I'm going to turn the tables on you. I'm going to bring it up before you do.
Oh, okay. All right.
And to see the look on your face, that's going to be priceless.
He took my thing. Yeah. This is all I have. I didn't have a personality except for mentioning G-Force. Okay. Well, you want to get into news?
Yeah. We don't have a lot this week. There's not a whole lot going on. So next week is CinemaCon, the big industry convention. A lot of the studios are going to start releasing trailers that we're going to start dropping within the next couple of weeks. They're going to show scenes from films, and every studio I think is represented out there.
Cool.
The 2 screenings that...
Well, not mine.
Well, no.
Solarflight Productions, solarflightpro.com. Go visit us. I got to get it in.
Say, I don't mention the theater that much, but yeah, you mention Solarflight every chance you get.
Yeah, it's called marketing.
Oh, okay. How foolish of me. I forgot that. I should be plugging the theater more.
Well, you should. You should plug Grand Avenue Theater, grandavenuetheater.com, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, just go visit that if that's where you want to. If you want to see movies, there's only one place to go. The rest of them we've shut down.
Yeah.
And that's not false advertising, right? It's just a regular old lie.
Yeah, that's pretty blatant. So I know the one trailer that I'm looking forward to that's going to be ready for this that I've read about it is the one for Joker 2.
Yeah, For Le Deux.
Right.
For Le Deux.
The one with Lady Gaga.
The French one.
But yeah, the only 2 movie screenings I think they're having are for Fall Guy, and then a film that Neon's putting out called Babes that honestly doesn't sound that interesting.
What is that about?
It's a female comedy. I really didn't look that much into it because the poster itself was annoying.
Wait, what?
And it's got Sandra Bernhard in it too, who I really can't stand.
I don't even know who that is.
She's
also,
an old...
why is it that when I typed in Babes movie, it took me to bankofamerica.com? Not a sponsored post. I'm just... what? Yes, no, I see it.
I'm surprised
I see what you mean.
That's all it brought up. You could have gone a completely different route with that with typing in Babes.
I have safe search on, Andy. I'm a man of class.
Okay. Yeah, because your wife's going to hear this too, and you need to...
Absolutely. Is it this poster? Is
yes.
this the one? You're right.
Yes,
that does
it.
look annoying.
Yep.
Yep.
But I'm glad to see one of the things coming up for CinemaCon too.
I'm sorry, before we move on, the quote that's on the poster is "the bridesmaids of baby making."
Yeah. Oh, that really makes me want to see it.
What?
Maybe that's the night I'll go to just go on the strip or something. That makes me really not want to see it.
I don't want to see that either. I think maybe we have to.
No, and Neon does put out these fringe, interesting films. The bigger budget one that we showed here over Christmas was Ferrari, which I absolutely loved.
I still want to see that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And Michael Mann is now using Adam Driver for Heat 2 that he has in development right now because of that film. And I'm not sure how they're going to do Heat 2 since De Niro's character died at the end of the first one.
Whoa, spoilers, Andy. Come on. That movie's been out, 20 years?
Yes.
That's way too soon to be spoiling things. Gosh, that'd be like if I said Nicolas Cage was a mole at the end of G-Force.
You're lucky I can laugh at it.
Podcast ends right here.
Yeah. But Angel Studios gets their own block of time too with this thing, and
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool that they're a big enough studio that they can actually do that now.
Yeah.
Because I guess the thing that they're going to focus on the most is a movie called Sight coming up at the end of May with Greg Kinnear, based on a true story.
Greg Kinnear's pretty good. I think he's an underrated actor.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting film about a guy bringing sight to an optometrist for an orphan that's blind. So definitely, Angel puts out these humanistic stories that normally turn out pretty well. Like my wife loved Cabrini. I didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, I do plan to go back and watch that at some point
because
I was interested in it as a period piece. Those movies don't get as much play, I think, as they used to. Well, just if it's a period piece at all.
Especially turn of the century, New York City is always fat. I really like Gangs of New York that Martin Scorsese did.
Yeah. So
that kind of falls into the same category, I think.
Except this time, it's nuns.
So that should go into the first Omen that I saw.
Back in the Habit 3, the nuns of Cabrini.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, Sister Act 3 is a go. Why?
Oh, right, Sister Act, not Back in the Habit. What's wrong with me?
Well, that was the tagline for 2.
Yes,
was Back in the Habit.
And since I haven't seen either of them, because I'm a man with respect for myself, I forgot about that. Okay, sorry. You had news, and I keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get past the bridesmaids of baby making.
Yeah.
Which sounds to me like someone thinks they can make a baby by pooping in a toilet, and I was homeschooled, but even I know that's not how it works.
Well, the next thing I had was Thursday Night Monkey Man did better than First Omen.
Yep.
So Civil War director Alex Garland not retiring.
Okay, yes. So I saw this earlier. Said he was going to stop directing.
Right, and of course. What day did that headline come out?
It was April 1st, wasn't it?
Exactly.
That's funny.
So that's where, I read the stuff on April 1st and go, nope. Yep. And then, of course, everybody took that so seriously.
Yeah.
And then, of course, today, he's not retiring. And I was like, I saw that coming.
The article I read was people had taken it as Civil War was going to be a disaster. So he just went, never mind. I'm not directing anymore. And he was like, that's a ridiculous thing. I don't know what's wrong with our culture. That's how you take
he's
it.
going to great lengths to even making these videos explaining what the United States will be like for the time frame of that film and explaining the alliances and how the political
fact
structures,
that Texas and California are allied in this, which is, look, I read his statement on it and it makes sense. He said he said that it's about how both of these states, even though, politically opposed in most every way, are both against a fascist leader. And I think that's a pretty reasonable thing.
Right.
But also, California?
I'm excited
Texas?
Honestly, Thursday night when I'm out in Vegas, if I find a theater close enough that has like a Thursday night show, I'm probably going to go see it.
Yeah, I definitely, because there's a Thursday night showing here as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to be there for that one. I want to. I'm excited to see this. I am, and by all accounts, it is one of Garland's most like well-directed, thought-provoking things. Yeah,
right. And Vance's word on it is it's really good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But he did say he's not quitting filmmaking. He's just going to write. He's pulling back from directing right now, is what he said.
Right.
So he's going to go and focus on being a screenwriter more. And he's like, you can't remove screenwriting is filmmaking. You can't remove that. You can't remove editors. You can't remove directors from filmmaking. It's all filmmaking.
It's all part of the big process. Yeah.
So yeah, it may be a while until, if he ever decides to pick up the director's hat again, but he'll still be writing stuff. And I think most of the stuff he's directed, he's had a hand in doing the writing and story process of as well. So
hopefully that some manga fanatic doesn't shoot him over this movie either.
Yeah, hopefully manga fanatics all wake up tomorrow and go, maybe I went a little overboard.
So anyway, next thing, James Cameron is supposed to be doing a remake of The Fantastic Voyage, which I'm just kind of excited to read that. Since it's not something other than blue people for once now within like the past decade. If anybody doesn't know this, like The Fantastic Voyage was a film made in the 60s where a team of doctors and scientists were shrunk and go in this tiny submarine. They inject it into the president to cure him of a tumor, I believe, if I remember that correctly. Donald Pleasance is in it. I forget all the other people that are in it. And of course, somebody among the team is an assassin. So it's trying to figure that out too, plus also the logistics of being in the human body and like antibodies and stuff like attaching itself to the sub. That's the one thing I really remember from the film when I saw it as a kid.
I haven't seen that version, but I have seen the Magic School Bus. And they go inside Ralph's body when he's sick. So I've basically seen it.
Well, okay. If anybody saw Inner Space, Inner Space is kind of the same story as The Fantastic Voyage, just not as serious.
Yeah. Well, Futurama has an episode that's based around that same idea as well. Futurama, Archer has a whole series of episodes that are about that.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, not at all. The whole that's a story that has inspired a lot of media to do something similar and try to do their own, normally a comedic take on it. And for the Magic School Bus, it just makes sense because it's like we're learning anatomy, but.
So here's a big shocker, too. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny lost. You want to guess the figure on this?
I actually had this one written down. I had 3 pieces of news, and this is one of them.
Okay.
Do you want to say it together?
Sure.
It lost $130 million. That's a good chunk of change.
Guaranteeing that there is not going to be Indiana Jones in a wheelchair, which is... kind of what this one should have been. I shouldn't say that. I did like this last one. I thought it was a good way to end the series, but there better not be another one.
Well, I still haven't gotten around to seeing it. I like James Mangold as a director. I mean, Logan's fantastic. And then he did
Walk the Line,
and he did
310 to Huma.
That's right. He did do 310 to Yuma.
He did.
But there was another one that was more recent. It wasn't Ferrari. It was
no, Ferrari was Michael Mann.
Right, but he did something that was similar a couple of years ago, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Ford versus Ferrari. Right. Yeah. And so I like the movies he makes.
Yeah.
And so I was excited about this one. I was like, oh, that seems like a perfect fit, after watching Logan, and he gets the character-driven stuff and the older man
especially since, Spielberg endorsed the film too and said that, oh, well, I'm not the only one that can make these kind of films.
Yeah.
That gave really a ringing endorsement and seal of approval for that. Just nobody showed up for it.
So I think what I have seen online, as far as people giving the reasons that they weren't big fans of it, it came down to the fact that it did the same thing that all of the other Disney properties are trying to do right now, which is take the character you love and replace them with the new version.
Yeah.
Iron Man, now we got Ironheart. We've got, instead of Captain America, we've got the Falcon, and he's now Captain America. Instead of whatever legacy character from Star Wars, we got this one now. And they just are trying to kind of pump out as much of the old guard as possible to replace them with new versions that they can market for longer. And then on the other side, you've got stuff like Monkey Man, which is completely different and new, and I do hope it does well. Honestly.
See, and films like Monkey Man really make me excited still for filmmaking as a whole. Yeah. That something, it's not everything is cookie cutter, and somebody can come up with something different and a different way of telling it. That's why I like going to the movies.
Yeah. I want to see something that. When I said it was a visceral experience more than it was a movie, that wasn't an insult.
Yeah,
that was a compliment.
Right.
that was a completely different from my normal day-to-day experience with consuming media.
Yeah.
And so, but I will probably watch Indiana Jones this weekend while I'm out of town and just trying to relax in bed, and I'll just, pull my laptop up, and that's not how I like to watch movies. I know, but I think I might do that. So we'll see, but.
So then the last thing that I had, and I thought this was hilarious and I had to mention it. So Danny McBride, the guy that part of
This is the other piece of news I had. This freaking moron. I was trying really hard not to hit the table this week, but that one makes me angry.
See, it just shows that we read the same things and are interested in the same things. So to get to the point of this then, Danny McBride, who wrote the last 3 Halloween films and also, does stuff closely with Seth Rogen.
Yep. That makes this piece of news make total sense.
Right. So he hates movie theaters that serve food and drink. Well, he's not going to like Grand Avenue because we serve food and drink.
Not just food. We're talking like nice food.
Yes.
This is not, you can get popcorn, you can get candy, but look, I'm doing a plug for the theater because I love this. There's a freaking kitchen.
But now we can get tacos.
And you can get tacos. You can get the piece de resistance, teeny tiny mini corn dogs with the fries on the side.
And the honey mustard. Yes.
And if you're a sadist. But I
like the honey mustard. Thank you.
I don't like sauce. I'm just a weirdo. All right,
whatever.
It's fine. I'm the one who's messed up. I'm willing to admit that.
Okay.
This is what we'll next time we're in therapy. This is what we'll talk about.
So getting back.
I'm so sorry, Andy.
That's okay. Getting back to the point of this. So he doesn't like theaters that serve food and drink, and he feels that this should be replaced with
marijuana.
So, how in God's name do you enjoy a movie high?
Well, his point, and I went to read this because I thought, okay, the what's the log line for the title? What do you call it when it's a headline?
I was thinking tagline.
Yeah, so the headline says this is stupid, and I'm like, all right, I know how this works. I'll click. Good job, you wrote a headline that made me click. And then he explains in there that he doesn't think you can enjoy a movie if you're just going through brewskis and you're gonna fall asleep in the theater because you're drunk and you're not up and moving around or whatever, or you're gonna be overly rambunctious and loud. But if you smoke a doobie, then you're gonna be so chill and shut up. And I'm like, okay, for 9 different reasons. One, if I wanted to smell a skunk's rear end, I would go out in the woods and scream at one. I don't want to go to a movie theater and be like, I'm going to sit down and I've got a popcorn and I've got my drink and, oh, what's that? The back end of a rhinoceros? Well, no.
I know there's been movies over the years that I've seen that, yeah, maybe I would have understood this if I was high.
Well, there was or the movie that came out, what was it, last month? That was it was the life story Bob Marley.
Oh, One Love.
That probably, I guess, makes sense, quote unquote. But it's never coming out of the carpets. It's never coming out of the carpets, man.
Or the ceiling tiles.
Or the ceiling tiles.
Or even like the port glass or the screen. The screen will absorb that.
Absolutely.
And it'll stain it.
Yes, it's gross. Also, the more smoke that goes up in front of the projector, the more the screen... the screening quality degrades.
Right.
Because you're blocking light. Light is an actual physical thing that has to pass through your stupid doobie smoke. So shut up.
See, and it goes back to, I thought more of Danny McBride. Like, I never really cared for him too much. I don't like Pineapple Express.
I don't
Everybody loves that film. I don't understand why. And I like stoner comedies. I do. That movie, I just can't stand. I don't think it's funny, and I don't think it's that good.
Yeah.
And he gained a little bit of ground to me because the last 3 Halloween films I really liked. I thought they were really good.
I completely forgot that he wrote on those.
Yeah. And I was shocked that he wrote those. Because I didn't think he could like form 2 words together to write a sentence.
Right, because he smoked so much weed.
Right, an entire script. And those films just pay so much homage to like the 78 one, which is my all-time favorite horror film.
Yeah.
That I was really excited to go. Every one of those that came out, I was really excited to go see. And the last one wasn't the greatest, but
well, let's be fair. Everyone screaming "Evil dies tonight" 900 times is not really writing. It's copy pasting.
Yeah, but at least it picked up with the characters from like you had to have seen and knew everything from the original one in order to plan out this story.
Right. Yeah.
So I give credit for that.
Well, maybe he's right. Maybe smoking weed does allow him to sit there and analyze a film in a way that most people can never do. But the only reason that Adderall makes me calmer than usual is because my brain don't worky so good. So I don't think it's a good thing necessarily. But
so that was the last thing. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I just generally look. Danny McBride did Eastbound and Down, which everyone that I've heard talk about is fantastic. Sure, fine, whatever. Well, and comedy's subjective.
The Righteous Gemstones that's on HBO too. Yeah. That he did. Eastbound and Down's better, I thought. But the Righteous Gemstones takes shots at like evangelism, which just is screaming to be made fun of, in my opinion. But if you're going to do that too, there's something I saw this week was a 2-part documentary about Steve Martin that's on Apple Plus television.
Ooh, I'd like to see that.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
The first part of it is like the early stand-up years, Saturday Night Live. And then the second part of it is the film career that he has.
Yeah.
And he's such a unique Americana figure for film and even television that it's really hard not to get caught up in that because I watched both parts in the same night, which is about 4 hours total. But it's definitely worth seeing. But going back, Steve Martin did a film that wasn't profitable or a big film too that I really like called Leap of Faith. And that takes shots at evangelism too. He's generally a town-to-town fake preacher that runs into a situation where this kid in a wheelchair actually stands up and walks, and it freaks him out. So it's part comedy, then part this moral qualm that he has. Then, well, now I've seen the real deal. I can't take these people's money anymore and treat them like the suckers that I have always seen them at and it's a fantastic movie that. A lot of people didn't see.
What's it called again?
Leap of Faith.
Leap of Faith. Okay. Yeah. It is interesting that the world's whitest man was able to kick off an extremely successful film career with the line, "I was born a poor black child."
I love The Jerk.
It's so funny.
It's one of those great 70s comedies. It really is.
I'm a jerk. He's so bobbly and weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Steve
But then
Martin.
there's Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid too.
Seen that.
It's black and white. It's cut with him interacting with
plaid's normally more of like a red and blue color.
Yeah.
Is it not?
No, it is, but the film is in black and white.
Oh, okay.
Because it's cut with all these different film noir films.
Are you imagining putting my head on a stovetop and then breaking?
I'm going to hit you in the head with this iPad in about 2 seconds.
I have that effect on people.
As I sit here and laugh.
So anyway, the Orange is the New Plaid. Is that what it's called?
No, it's Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Yeah, and it's all cutting into like old detective films. So
cool.
It looks like he's interacting with Humphrey Bogart and a very thin story, but it's a really cool, funny movie too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to dig more into Steve Martin's catalog. Yeah. That's something because I did his comedy masterclass on.
Oh yeah,
you can't tell based on the results, but I did go through it.
Did you get your refund?
Yeah, I actually had to send him more money as an apology. But yeah, he's had a fascinating career. I think Selena Gomez even said something this week about how she said it pains her that people don't really know about his story because he's had one of the most incredible lives.
Right.
And most people don't know anything. Like most people don't even know he has several banjo albums and they're incredible.
Well, and he wrote the music to a Broadway play, Bright Star.
Yeah.
with Edie Brickell.
Yeah, he's so talented.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Definitely.
And by talented, I mean so incredibly hardworking. Because really that is what it comes down to a lot of the time. Yeah,
and that Only Murders in the Building too is really good.
It is. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we could go ahead and wrap this up then.
Yep.
Guys, everyone, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. To the 2 people that have downloaded.
Hey, that's 2 people that we didn't have the weeks before. But yeah, no, we enjoyed doing this, and we hope you do too.
We do.
And we'll see you next week. And just feel free to reach out to us, Grand Review Pod, on the Instagram, Facebook, and grandreviewpod@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us. And we'd be more than happy to hear your thoughts and stuff. As soon as someone says something about a review we've done, we want to start including that, I think. Just kind of saying like, oh, yeah, our listeners have said this. So please feel free to reach out. Let us know what you think. If you see any movie, even if it's not something we've already covered, just throw it out there and be like, hey, I saw this week and it was great, or it was bad, or Andy would love it and Garrett would hate it. I don't know, whatever. So reach out to us at Grand Review Pod, and we will see you on the next one.
Yep. Take care, folks.
Bye-bye. 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 Whatever. I'll just end it there. Bye.
Bye, y'all.